Hello, good evening, good afternoon, happy Sunday. Hope you're doing well. Wherever you're joining us from, I am Dr. Adi Olubamiji, and I am so pleased to have you join us today. How are you doing? How is family? How is work? This talk today is about getting you out of Nigeria, getting you to go to graduate school, and getting you to go to graduate school, whether on funding or not. We want to make sure that we do that for you today. I am inviting in someone who is going to be our guest speaker today. So give me a second. Let me see if I can find her in the lobby. Please, if you're on here, please request to be a speaker. Please, if you can hear me, request to be a speaker so I can bring you on the live program. I haven't seen your request yet, so I'm looking right now to see if I can find you. Please request to be a speaker. I cannot find you in my space here, so please request to be a speaker. So or comment here, write a comment here in the comments so I can see you and add you to this discussion. Please, if you're on here, please do that. I am bringing to you today Peace. So Peace was one of the people on my program a couple of years ago, and she was a teacher in one of Nigerian universities, and she was successful to get a fully funded PhD program, and she had migrated to the US. Our story inspires me. Why? Because oftentimes when people come to work with me, they believe that, oh, I can only get fully funded scholarship only if I am a science student, only if I have studied something sciencey. Peace has studied linguistics. So I'm bringing it up here as an example to help confirm to you that what you study is valid. What is study is money somewhere. What you study can take you abroad. It can do a lot for you. And that's why we're inviting Peace to come in and talk to us about her journey and how she navigated through from where she started from to where she is right now. All right. Okay, great to see
Okay.
you. How are you, Peace?
I'm fine, Dr. Adi. It's good to see you again. Hope you are feeling better.
I feel better. Thank you, and thank you for honoring my invitation to have this chat with you today. People meet Peace, very thin, and Peace. I want you to do a bit of introduction about yourself, a bit about your background, what you've studied, a bit about your work experience, where you are right now, and what you're studying, please.
Okay, so um, my name is Peace Benson. I'm a Nigerian. I'm from the northeastern part of Nigeria. I'm from Taraba State. I was a teacher or I am a teacher for over 10 years. Um, I work with Federal University of Ukari, and I met what more? I met Dr. Adi in 2020. Yeah,
Okay.
and since
What group
then, like,
were you teaching in university?
I teach linguistics, I teach English, and right now I'm studying for my PhD in linguistics.
All right, good. So,
Yeah.
what I love about Peace story is that Peace is Hausa. In Nigeria, we believe that Hausa people don't go to school. We believe that, oh, they're not educated. We believe that, oh, they're not going to go abroad. And Peace is one of those people who help us show that it doesn't matter where you're from. If there's something you want to do, you put your mind to it, you're going to get that. And Peace is currently doing a PhD. Peace, you're here because I want you to share a bit about your journey. Because when people are going to graduate school, oftentimes the notion is that it's going to work like you flip your hands and that you're going to just apply to one school and boom, they pick you and then you enter abroad and you start to live your best life. And immediately you enter abroad, everything works out. I want you to tell us a bit about your journey. What prompted you to say, I wanted to do a PhD? Before this PhD, have you done any masters? What was that on? And when you were prompted to say, I wanted to do a PhD, how did you make a choice that you're going to the US? Or was there another destination you were thinking about? Can you tell us a bit more?
Yeah. So as a teacher, it's always every teacher's dream to have a PhD. And it's like it comes with the job. You would like have to have a PhD. And so yes, I had a master's. I didn't have the information of like studying abroad. So when I was looking to like study for my master's, I did not have the information that I could like get admission to study for PhD with my first degree. I had to like study for master's in Kenya. Before then I went back to Nigeria, and then I discovered that, oh, it's like I wasted time to do masters. Meanwhile, I can actually go straight with my MBA to PhD program. I didn't have that knowledge before that, to be honest. Yeah, so I started like I really want to do my PhD, and then I got to see one of your flyers online. And then to be honest, then Dr. Adi, I think I wasn't on Instagram, but because of your program, I think you during the lockdown you had series of lockdown program, and in one of those programs you invited is it Professor Charles? Yes, I think that was really an eye-opener. And even then, like after my MA, I always desire to study abroad. Like I want to like have a master's or a PhD that is not Nigerian, because I believe that I want to like compete with my peers or my mates on international level, not just like locally in Nigeria. So that was what prompted me to go
Good.
for PhD.
So let me tell you a bit about this. I wanted to say this to her to Peace story here. So Peace did a master's, right? And then she said, I want to do my PhD. For most Nigerians, for most Africans, we believe that is the logical order. Now you do a bachelor's, you do a master's, you do a PhD. Whereas in this part of the world, there are schools that will admit you directly into PhD programs using your bachelor's degree. The second thing I want to mention here is that your chance of securing fully funded program is a lot higher when you're looking for a PhD than when you're looking for a master's. Some of
Yes.
you have a bachelor's right now, you're looking for a master's program, and if you were looking for a PhD program, you would have secured a slot because there are more funding towards PhD research than there are for master's research. So if you're on here right now, you have a bachelor's, you are thinking, maybe I need a master's. I'm telling you today that if you need funding, that maybe you need a PhD. Because with PhD, there are more availability of funding, especially for the US. There are more availability of funding. So if you're targeting the US schools, I want you to pretty much don't look at just the master's program, look at the PhD program, especially for those of you who are in research-based fields. You're in the sciences, you're in the arts space, look at PhD with your bachelor's. I think there are more opportunities for you there. Please, a bit about how long did this whole process took? Since you started, thinking, I want to apply, up to the point of securing the funding and moving to and securing the funding, how long did it take?
Okay, Dr. Adi, it took a long time with the wrong information. When I didn't have the right information, I think I started like looking to study for PhD right from 2016, but I didn't have the right information. I didn't know anything about cold emailing, like, I didn't have the right information. But when I got to know you, then I got the right information. And then it took me like actively 2 years.
Were you getting were you getting responses from professors along the line within
Yes.
that 2 years?
Yes.
What made you make a decision that this was the right professor? And were you getting calls? What was happening within those 2 years?
Okay, within those 2 years, I was doing cold emailing and I was getting response from the information I got from you. I was getting emails, and then I have choices. Some will want me like to do research in their own area, but I also like I have interest. So now I have to make choice. If this professor is the right person for me, if this professor have funding for me, and if this professor is ready to work with me. That was what I was looking for.
Let's break that down a little bit. Many people go to graduate school today. They just go with the fact that I found a professor who finally said they want to take me. They don't even check whether this professor is in a field that is what they want to do for the future. They are just saying at all, I've gotten a professor. It doesn't matter what the professor is studying, I'm going to go in that direction. One thing that you don't always realize is that if you use somebody else's vision to drive your career, you have jeopardized the rest of your, that rest of your career by focusing on something that you have no interest in. But because you found a professor, now you felt like finally somebody responded. He said something. He said, I was getting responses. When you're trying to go to graduate school, patience is key, especially if you have the understanding of what you want to do, or you work with a career coach, you guys have developed an understanding that this is what I should do. With Peace, once we had an understanding that this is what she's going to do, that's going to guide her towards where she wants to go career-wise, it doesn't matter if she found a professor who has money. If that vision does not align, she's not saying yes. Why? Because she knows if one professor can reply, 500 professors can reply. Because that same template is rinse and repeat. If it works for one, it works for all. I'm saying this to people here because oftentimes your problem is that you actually don't understand the code emailing method. You don't understand how to find that professor. So you have been sending emails to 500, 300, 100 professors, nobody's responding because there's a logic to it. And if you don't have that logic, the moment you get one response, you jump on it. You jump on it whether they are the right professor for you or not. Number two is that I know a lot of people right now looking at, I have to go to school in September. Is September this year or not? If it's not this September, I don't know what I'm going to do. Patience is key. I remembered Peace almost got into Canada. We got one professor we were working with. She could have come here last year, September. We were working, she already did interview with that professor. Everything went well until one thing didn't go well. And once that one thing didn't go well, we were ready to move on. Because we know that the future ahead of her is too bright for us to rush into what will not pay her. So I'm asking you today, if you're looking for a scholarship, it has not happened. First of all, it's good to evaluate. Do I have the right information? What have I selected as a career path? Or I've just selected career paths that I don't even understand. Do I know what I want to do with this when I'm done? Once you know that, do I have the right information? Because if you have the right information, you will be getting responses. Not all of them will respond, but you will be getting some responses. Some of them may be, I don't have funding. Some of them may be, they actually are excited, but the career paths are not good. And some of them may be telling you they don't have space right now. Can you come next year? And if that person is right for you, you will be interested in waiting. I want you to evaluate yourself. Do I know the right career path for me? The information I have, is it right? Is it generating responses? Number three, am I ready to put in the work and exercise some patience and not want everything to happen with a flip of a finger? And how much work am I putting in? Am I putting in enough work? You know, I explained here, I said, Peace wanted to go into Canada at some point. Peace, I want you to explain a bit. Were you restrictive in terms of what country I want? Because Nigeria is a country, I say, it has to be Canada, or it has to be, Dr. It's Canada. Just give me any course. How did you came about, you know, how did you measure what country is right for you?
First, it was Canada I was looking into, Dr. Adi. It was you who said, why not look into US? Yes. So I never really want to look into US. I was like, no. US is not place I want to be, you know. It was just Canada, which I know most Nigerians want to be. Like all of them want to be in Canada. That was the same thing for me. I wanted to do the PhD in Canada. But you said, why not look into it with like you can get funding for your PhD in the US. That was when I started to look into the US. Yes. So yeah. So that was when I started looking into US, and I'm here in the US.
Yes, I'm saying this because she told you I've been looking from 2016. She looked from 2016 up to 2020. And the focus was it has to be Canada. 4 years, it has to be Canada. Some of you are on here today. You need to actually find someone to talk to you directly. Not that I want to go to this webinar, they give me SOP. Anybody can write SOP. Anybody can write a CV. You can get CV templates everywhere. One thing I appreciate about what I do is that this is personalized to your career. Some people's career, there are opportunities elsewhere that are better for you. Let me give you an example. I've used this example before, but I like to use it. A public health expert in Canada, a public health expert in the US, a public health expert in the UK, what you will get from this same field is different. In terms of, will it give me papers? Anybody in the healthcare sector in the UK knows healthcare sector means there will be papers for you. In the US, public health makes it a good place for you, the US, because with public health, you will get your papers in the US. In Canada, paper is not needed at all. Now, you can get your papers whether you study English or Yoruba in Canada. It's welcome. So far you work for 1 year, you'll get your papers. Now, how much you're going to make also vary among these three countries. Availability of jobs also vary among these three countries. Let's look at COVID-19 vaccine. Which country invented the most of the COVID-19 relief vaccines and everything that we got? Is the United States. You are in there thinking, I want to study biomedical science, I want to study gene therapy, and you are saying it has to be Canada. Have you seen Canada make COVID-19 vaccine? Ask yourself, did Canada, I'm Canadian, did Canada generate COVID-19 vaccine? Now you are looking for a country to do your research in biomedical science, and you are insisting you have to go to Canada. There are not a lot of funding for you there. You have to focus on countries that are doing different things. For you now, you have to ask yourself, my field, where are opportunities for me? Don't do follow to Canada. Yes, I'm Canadian. There are programs that are right, that Canada is the place for you. There are GPAs, that is the place for you. But there are also career paths that there are more opportunities in other places. There are career paths, or there are the things right now that if you have a conversation with me, we will prioritize you going to the UK. We'll say UK is your first choice. But if you don't know that, you have just the SAP and the CV, and you say, I cannot pay anybody any money, you will be there for many years trying to get through and not get through. This is one of the biggest problems we have. It's not that you don't have the very good GPA. It's not that you don't know how to write that CV. It's just that maybe you're not targeting the right professors, the right, when it comes to research areas, or you have not selected the right country. Now, I want us to talk a bit about grades. I know this is something maybe please don't want to talk about. With your grades, what people say out there, I want you to, if you can, tell us a bit about this was how my grade look, so that people on here can also get a bit of encouragement.
Yeah, so for my BA, I had a good grade. I had a good grade that would have taken me to a PhD program in the US straight up. But then I went to do masters, and my master's grade was not as great as my PhD, as my MA grade. So I think that was kind of some setback when I was like trying to get into Canada.
Now, let me speak on that with her. There are countries where there is restriction on grades.
Yeah.
They are not focusing on your talent. They're not focusing on your artistic mind. And that country is Canada. Canada is bougie as it gets. Why? Because so many applications go to our schools. So we want the best of the best and the best. If you are not the best and the best, and you want funding, first of all, let's be clear. If you're looking for funding, you have a tutu, you cannot get that in Canada. You will not. They will not give it to you. Let anybody lie to you because they want to sell their courses in the boot camps that they will get you full funding in Canada. That's a lie. Because Canada's focus is on grades first. Yeah. Whereas other countries are not like that. Canada can do that because there are too many applicants. The US is not prioritizing your grades. Yeah. They prioritize, do you have publications? What work experience have you brought to the table? What have you done really career-wise that contributes to this thing? And then the quality of SOP. Lastly, if you find a professor who is saying, I want to take on this person, then it's over. That grades don't matter anymore. And I'm saying this because some of you are still holding on to, I want to go to Canada with a tutu, with a third class. You want full funding. It ain't gonna happen. But if you have a good amount of thing you can put together as a package, we will sell you with very good justification in places like the UK, in places like the US, in Europe. We will sell you very well and get you a very robust funding to come. The last time I brought somebody on this program, she had first class. After that, people came to her, dear, doctor, it looks like it's only first class that can do it. That's why I brought Peace. To show you an example that you don't need a first class to do it. You just need a story and a combination of things that you've done that makes sense that we can put together. Let me give you an example. A lot of time when people come to my admission consultation, especially mothers, they will tell me, Dr. Adi, I haven't worked in corporate for 10 years. I don't have any work experience. Then I will now start probing. Did you sell anything? Yes, I own a company. I own a pure water company. So you don't think that's a work experience? Well, because it's just my own. There are some things within your story that are sellable. Like someone who has a pure water company who came to tell me, I have not worked in 10 years for any, I've not worked. She has worked. She has worked for herself. And there is a story there. Maybe you have volunteered at an NGO. Maybe you have helped out during a particular crisis. Maybe there was a crisis in the north. There were people who needed shelter. There were people whose information has to go across to somewhere else. Maybe you led something there. That's his SOP was this story. So I'm saying to you, that you have a tutu, this is the time to start to think, what do I have in my hand? You wanted to say something, Peace.
Yes, I wanted to add that I had 2-1 in my first degree. I had 2-2 in my master's, but that wasn't what Canada was looking for. Canada was looking for distinction, but US, I had the experience, I had the research, like I had the research experience, I had the work experience. I have enough things to write on my SOP for me to get admission in the US, but I wasn't looking at US for a long time until you pointed me to that direction. That was what I wanted to add.
Yep. Some of you right now, after this live session, I want you to sit down and say, where have I been focusing? Is there another opportunity for me? If you don't know how to interpret that opportunity, come and book a session with us. Come and join the program that Peace joined. The crazy part is the money has not changed. It's still the same amount. As we revamp our program in the coming months, this program's price is going to go up drastically because it works. But it is still there at the same price that it was 3 years ago for people to be able to take advantage of that. Why? Nigeria is going through stuff right now. Every youth wants to leave. So I have said, let's increase the price for now, because whichever youth we can help to get out of that place, let's do that. Now, Peace, I want you to tell us 3 to 5 things that you think helped you on this journey specifically so that people can take home some lessons.
Number one, I would tell to anyone is to get a LinkedIn account.
Right.
LinkedIn account. I think LinkedIn is underestimated, Dr. Adi. LinkedIn account is very, very important. LinkedIn account got me one of my recommenders to the US. Yes. So I think first, if you're looking to study abroad, get a LinkedIn, and not just anyhow account, like Dr. has like YouTube video also about LinkedIn, right? So you
Yes.
can watch that and know how to like make your
Optimize.
LinkedIn profile appear professional. Number two, I would say have a publication. If you're an undergrad, focus on maybe your research projects or your class projects. Make sure you do it well, that you are able to like have a publication out of it. And then number three, I'll say get a mentor. Don't do it on your own. Don't do it blindly. Don't be like me for years trying to do it on my own. Get a mentor. Get someone who will show you the way. Like we usually say in Nigeria, follow person with no road. So get a mentor, get someone to show you the way. And I'll say like, and the fourth, I don't know, is it up to five?
No, you just said three. But I
Okay,
think
three.
maybe I can what think about the rest. Your number 2 point or a number one point on getting a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
So it is very critical. One of the courses that we have under this program now is on updating your LinkedIn profile. So if you're on our program, I'm gonna be passing you that go and update your LinkedIn. Like she said, your cold emailing doesn't have to be to their email. It can be on LinkedIn. A professor had advertised this position, and then on LinkedIn you found them there. You try to, send them a message and say, okay, hopefully they read it. And if they do, then that becomes a conversation. And that makes it easy for you to connect than the people who have been emailing them. Now they have 500 emails. They are scared to read it. But you have been able to get a quick pass through LinkedIn. So definitely put up a good LinkedIn account. Number three is what we've been focusing on all along. And number two was very good as a point to make, right? And if there's anything else you want to share, yes, please go ahead.
I'll say that have a good relationship with maybe your lecturers, because they will write good recommendation for you. Someone that can write up to 100 recommendation letters without getting tired. Have a good relationship, I think, with that. And then I think the fifth thing is surround yourself with like-minded people. Surround yourself with like-minded friends, with friends who will encourage you to follow your career, friends who encourage you to do to better yourself. That's the five things I think I have.
Thank you. Number two that she shared was have a publication. So every Nigerian, I believe, is a publication is it has to be peer reviewed. It doesn't have to be. Even if it's a class paper, you think it is well written, please make sure you put it on maybe academia.edu, ResearchGate, a place where you can now share the link so that professor can really access it. What is that for? It is your writing sample. A writing sample is very critical for us as Africans. What does it help a professor see? They see that you can write English. For every professor that sees an African, what automatically comes to their mind is, what if you can't write the type of English that we want you to write? That writing sample justifies to them that you can write good English. Number two is they want to see how your critical thinking ability is. Can you put together an organized, logical research? So they're looking out for, okay, is this paper organized? Is it written like a research paper? Is it written in such a way that, they're interested a little bit? So please make sure, as you don't have to have a peer-reviewed publication, but anything you want to be using as your writing sample, make sure you look at it that it looks like it is a research, written in a research format that makes sense. Now, everybody who is on here, there are certain skills that makes your paper look good. One of them is data analytics skill. So let's say you have run any sort of research, you would have generated data. Don't just use histogram to plot your data. Learn a few things like, how do I use Power BI? How do I use advanced Excel? How do I use statistics? So I can do very good statistics in this little thesis that I'm doing. Make sure that at least when someone reads this, they can see some logic. They can say, oh, she used some advanced Excel stuff here. Oh, I can see that these graphs or these charts were made in Power BI. Learn a bit about data analytics and let that shine through in your work. Now, research skills. It's very critical. If you're doing research, there are a couple of good research skills. Maybe you are in a space where you use techniques or tools. You are privileged to have used those techniques or tools. It has to show in that research paper. To some extent, it helps them see that this person has some organization, this person understands some tools that we use, this person has research ability, and definitely if you understand anything on time management, project management, anything related to that, and you have used them in this work, let it shine through. It is critical for you to have a writing sample, and don't always say it has to be something that is published. It doesn't have to be. I want you to look through some of the work that you did previously. Now you're on here, you said, I haven't done any of this and I have graduated. What can I do to get a writing sample? I am challenging you to do a systematic literature review. Let's say you are interested in linguistics in tech. You have come up with computational linguistics as an area that you want to focus on, computational linguistics. You can do a systematic literature review or a regular literature review without a professor. You can do that. If you're able to do that literature review, you can publish it. That becomes a writing sample. You don't need a professor for that. It's going to read like a blog, but it's a publication. And you can always find things like this to do, a bit of writing sample, or you start a blog. All right, I'm going to start a blog on computational linguistics. And every 3 weeks or 1 month, I'm going to publish some good work. I'll read people's papers. I'll give my own summary. That is writing sample. Now, you can put that blog on so that somebody can read it, a professor that you're trying to impress, you give them the link to that blog. It doesn't matter that you have graduated. There are still ways for you to generate a writing sample. Is it compulsory? No. Is it very helpful? Absolutely. Why? There is unconscious bias and even conscious bias against Africans when it comes to us writing and doing very good research. The question is, how do you want to beat that? You can't just sit down and say, I'm binding and casting any professor that looks at you this way. This is how every professor looks at you. You are African. Even me. They don't think you can write. So what are you going to do? Get a writing sample, start a blog, do a systematic literature review, do a regular literature review, look at the research papers you've written before in those classes you've taken, publish them on academia.edu, ResearchGate. Now you have a writing sample. Collaborate with somebody who is still in school. Somebody is still in their final year. Work with them on their thesis, publish it together as a co-author. That becomes a writing sample. Come up with strategies to generate a writing sample today. Now, I brought peace here because I want you to be able to envision yourself that if this, like she said, this whole process took about 2 years. Why? She was picky. She knew what exactly she was looking for. She wasn't going to settle for any professor. She was going to find a professor that fits what she's looking for. Always remember that this is a long journey. It could be 4 years, it could be 5 years. If you are going to spend 5 years somewhere, at least it will be good to spend it on something that you understand, something that you like, something that you already know, this is how I will use it. A lot of people are going to graduate school right now with no understanding of why they said yes to that professor, with no understanding of what am I going to do with this when I'm done. I want you to make sure that your application that you're doing for graduate school, that you're thinking through all of this. What do I want to do with this? Is this professor right for me? Peace, you're already in graduate school right now. Now that you're there, can you give us some of the pointers that our people can start to think about that when they enter graduate school, the first year of graduate school, what are some things that can help them to succeed?
I didn't get your question, Dr. Adi.
I said, if you have any pointers for people who have entered graduate school, from your perspective, what are a few things that they should note on getting to graduate school to help them succeed over their 4 to 5 years program within the school?
First of all, I'll say, make sure you're going for a program that you're interested in. And make sure your program will still be valid in the next 5 years, 10 years. Is it in line with technology? Is it going to be, is your project going to be valuable in the next 10 to 20 years? Make sure you do that, and make sure you and your supervisor are in sync in terms of your research. I think this is the best thing for you to do in the first year.
Fantastic. I want to add a few things to what she said. It is okay to change your mind. You can get to graduate school today and get to work with a professor. 6 months later, you may realize this is not the direction I want to go. You may realize this is not the right professor for me. It is okay to change your mind. Number two is that graduate school has two directions that it leads to. It can make you a professor or you can work in the industry. It is important that you have clarity. Are you trying to be a professor or are you trying to work in the industry? Your first year, your first 2 years, you may not even know. But it is important that you know it early. The earlier you know, the better for you, because you can start to tailor everything you're going to do towards that area. You want to be a professor, you may start to connect, go to different conferences, build academic relationships. You're looking for a job after this, then you build a different portfolio such as the one I built, because my plan was to go into the industry. How do you determine whether you want to go this way or that way? You could talk to a career coach. Remember your number three, remember that your professor is an academic mentor, is not worked in the industry. Do not use your professor as your yardstick for your life, for your career. Nigerians especially, we pick people as our mentors. We want the life they want. Now we just feel that's who they want we want to become. Be careful about that. Remember, there are some privileges you don't have because you're African, you're Black, you go to school in another country. Some privileges you do not have. So it's important for you to have other people you're talking to, you're relating to, especially career coaches, outside of your school. Your school is sitting there as its own bubble, providing everything you need. That is not going to be life in 4 years when you're done. The last question, ask yourself, what do I want to do with this PhD? What can I do with this PhD? What can I do with this master's? Ask that question exactly 1 year in. If you're doing a PhD exactly 1 year in, you should be asking, what do I do with this? If you're doing a master 6 months in, you should be asking, how do I use this degree? What do I do with this degree? Why? Why do you do that? Because if you know where you're going, you can make plans while you're in school. Maybe where you're going, you require some skills, some expertise, some technical know-how. If you know on time where you're going, then you can get the school to help you get what you need. You can take courses that will help you get there on time. You can get some other help. You can get access to certification at low cost because you're a student, right? So it's very good that you know where you're going very, very early. You can never not be on the same page with your professor. Your job is to make your professor look good. He hire you so you can do work. Always make sure that you're not working in silo, afraid, ask questions, make sure there is total visibility to your work by your professor. My aim for you is that when you look back a year and a half from today, you would realize and you say, oh, that program that I attended with Dr. Adi actually helped me in terms of a few things. Like I said to you, when it comes to selecting a country, get help from a career coach to make the best decision for you. Sometimes where you are looking, that's not where your virtue lies. Number two, there is something that we can look at as your unique selling point. We found some unique selling point for peace. That's why she kept getting responses from professors, and she was able to pick and choose and say, this is the one I want. What is your own unique selling point? Talk to a career coach that you can find out what that is. So that becomes what you're really selling. Number three, if you don't have a publication, you're out of school, think about cooking something up, as I have said before, to come up with a publication. Please, any last word before we go?
I think the last word for everyone is think about what you want. And you can't do things blindly. You need a coach. You need a mentor.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Peace. Peace always makes me feel like I'm a superstar, that I have done something. And it's a pleasure working with you. You know, I remembered when I met Peace for the first time on Zoom. I looked at where she was even sitting. I'm like, she needs to get out of that place. That place is going to fall down. That was the school she was looking at. I'm like, this place is about to fall down. And look at where she is. God has blessed her. She has changed location. This is for you to know. You're working on your graduate admission right now. This is possible for you. Maybe you need some help. Maybe you need to work a little harder. Maybe you need to not give up right now. And it's okay if it doesn't happen this coming September.
Yeah.
There is January, there is May, there is September 2024. There are still much more opportunities in the future. If you're on here right now, you've been looking for, I need a master's, I need a master's, I need it fully funded. I want you to change that strategy to, I need a PhD, I need a PhD, I need a PhD, because the PhD attracts more funding. If you've been looking at it has to be Canada, it has to be Canada. I want you to start to think, is it really Canada? We don't know until you talk to a career coach. It may be Canada for you, it may not be Canada for other people, but talk to someone so that we know where there is abundance of opportunity for you. But I know there is something somewhere for you. Peace, thank you. Thank you for honoring my invitation. Thank you for being
Thank you,
here.
Dr. Adi.
And thank you for sharing the journey with us. I truly thank God for you and definitely appreciate you. I look for, so this is how my story with Peace has gone, right? She's now in school. We're still working together to make sure that Peace actually leave this program as a green card holder with a job, because we have now decided that she's not going to be a professor, FYI. Guys, imagine, Peace was a teacher, right? And she actually started this PhD because she wanted to continue to be a teacher. And now we are at a point where we are no longer going in that direction. We are going in the direction of, I would get a job after. Why? The new country you're about to get to will change you. And that's why my first advice was what? Be open to change. And I'm happy that she made this decision. Do I want to see her as a teacher? If that's what she wants. But she has more information now to decide what she wants. And that's why she said you should know what you want. And yeah, be open to those changes. Thank you for your time. I'll let Peace go. I have 9 more minutes. If you have questions for me, this is the moment where you start to put that question in so I can help you answer. Thank you, Peace. Do take
Bye,
care.
Dr. Adi.
God bless you. Bye now. All right. Questions, concerns, guys, comments, remarks. I'm happy to take that. All right. So if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section. Put it in the question box. We have 9 more minutes for those questions. Why do I don't bring up a lot of people. But I every now and then I would think about somebody's story just being very unique. I say, you know what, maybe we should bring them on Instagram Live. This is what we do for people. We help transform people's lives, take them from one location to another. If you're interested in the program that Peace went through, is the Graduate Application Help Program. This program today costs $300, just $300. What do you get on this program? You get 1 consultation with me. During that consultation, we will evaluate your credentials, everything you have to be able to say, these are programs you should study. This is the best country for you. This is the career path you should focus on. Then after we do that, you go and do some searches, find a few schools. We also give you access to our training. Within that training, you learn how to write your SOP. You learn how to do your CV. You understand how to choose a course, how to write application fee waiver, code emailing to professors. There's so many things in the training. You automatically get access to that training. You also get access to all our templates. Every template we have, you get access to. Lastly, we will give you a mentor, your own consultant. That consultant works with you to come up with your SOP, works with you to come up with your CV. And we gave you a whole consultant. We cannot give you discounts. A lot of you have bought ordinary courses. You never even talk to those people face to face for 1,000, for 4,000, for all of that. And in this $300 program that we have over subsidized, you have access to me, you get a full training, you get templates, then you get a whole consultant working with you to develop this document so that you can go ahead and do the best application. I can tell you that this is the cheapest program you can find anywhere. Why? Why do I make it so cheap? I don't know. This was the price 3 years ago. We just haven't changed it. We still haven't changed it. We're hoping that our product team gets to this program and change it. Definitely this program is going to $1,000 before September, but it is still available at $300 today. You have access to your own private consultant. You have access to me for one time. You get all the trainings to help you, and you go and apply to as many schools as you can. I am, I've seen wonderful stories come out of this that blows my mind. This program is for anyone who says, I must get scholarship. It's important that I get scholarship. And yes, there's scholarship for most people in different places, be it Europe, be it the UK, be it the US, be it Canada, be it Australia. When we work with you, I help you find where is the best location, where can you maximize your potential, and where is the right scholarship opportunity for you. That's what we do. All right, that is that program. Okay, I already have everything. I don't need any help. I just hope that this also helps you to reevaluate. Am I applying to the right schools? Am I applying to the right countries? The program I am choosing, is that the right for me? Like Peace said to you, she got a lot of different responses, but she was looking for something. Have you identified the future of work in your own career? Have you identified what is it that I should major in so that I can have a brighter future? Have you identified that? Because it is important that you have a direction. If you don't have a direction, everybody else will tell you where to go. A professor will give you their own direction. That may not work for you. All right, I'm looking to find questions. All right. Okay, please, Dr. Adi. All right, I'm looking. I have admission to study educational leadership and management in the UK. Please, what type of job can I use it for in the UK after the program? If that is you, you're going to the UK to study that, you need to be getting on our mentorship program. And that mentorship program is where we guide you through what type of jobs you can get with whatever you are studying wherever in the world. That is the program that deals with that. Dr. Adi, I act as the magazine editor for NGO I volunteer at. Does that also count as a publication? If being an editor is not a publication, but being an editor counts. You're an editor for a magazine. If that magazine actually puts your name there as an editor, that counts. If you can send a couple of those magazines that you actually edited, that counts, but it is not a publication. But you acted as a big boss somewhere, it counts. All right, I'm looking at, after one-on-one consultation, can I pay for this program? You can, after the one just spoke about, after the one, this $300 you pay, part of it is what gives you access to the one-on-one consultation. Now, a single consultation with me now costs $250. And that is why I'm saying this program gives you one consultation with me, gives you access to training, gives you SOP training, gives you a private consultant. It is too cheap to be $300. So in the coming weeks, you see the price had gone up, right? Because one individual consultation on its own is $250. We have just still left this price because I realize Nigerians are in pain. People are going through so much right now. So this is our way to say, let's leave the price the way it is so that we can help a lot of people go in. All right, I'm looking at any other question. Please, Dr. Adi, I have a session with you on the 25th. I'm eagerly waiting for a wonderful session with you. However, the time is my little challenge. So you probably want to write to my team if you're looking to change your time for booking with me. Is it possible to access scholarships in Canada? Yes, it is possible to access scholarship in Canada, but as Chris said, Canada prioritizes GPA, So they're looking for people who have very high GPA. If you have other things like publications and all of that, it makes your story a lot sweeter. Now, Canada, unlike a lot of other schools in other countries that are now direct admission, most of the programs for Canada are indirect admission. That means you have to find a professor, convince them that you're the right candidate, and then this professor, they will now recommend you to the school. The school now give you admission. Now you're coming to work for that professor as your employer, right? And so that is how most of the scholarship in Canada works. A professor is interested in you based on your notes. They may have a meeting with you, and after that, they recommend you for admission to the school, then bring you in as their own employee, which is you're now on scholarship, full funding. There are still a few schools that does the direct admission where you submit your package, they pick you based on who has the best package. But most schools in Canada do not do that. Most schools actually focus on you finding the professor yourself. One of the things on our package, or the training package that you have access to, is how to write that code emailing to professors so that you get response. This is available as part of what you would get. I hope that helps. Is age an important factor? Age may not be an important factor if you have been working or you have been doing some research during the time that you haven't been doing anything. Somebody may be young, but they haven't been doing anything. And you may not be young, but over the years, you have not been redundant. You have been working, you have been a teacher, like Peace that you saw. Peace is not young, but Peace has been a teacher consistently for many years. And we could claim all of those as work experience because she's been working as a teacher. The question is, yes, you may be on the higher side for age. What have you been doing all along? Are there things that we can use in what you've been doing to spin up a good story for you? That's what really matters. So age is not a problem if we can justify what have you been doing. Can 2,000 words course work in school serve as a publication? I think it can. If the 2,000 words coursework is written in a structure that you feel if somebody reads this, they will get the logic. It is written in a research format. The English is well. You check plagiarism software. You think there is no plagiarism thing on this. You know, you need to be able to check those. And if all the answer is yes, hey, there's no typo, whatnot, please upload it to academia.edu or research it and start to use it as your writing sample. Very well accepted. All right. So I think that is the last question I found on here. If you have questions about the program, you want to register for the program, like I said to you, September is not the only admission period. There is January. If you're thinking January admission, you should be submitting your application right now because it helps you to submit early. So you should be looking at January admission even right now. Yes, there are still September admission that you can still get right now. Well, it's a little late for a lot of schools, but there is January admission. So I'm saying start your process now, just knowing there's January. I entered University of Saskatchewan in May. I didn't start in January, I didn't start in September, I started in May. There is opportunity in May, there is opportunity in January, there's opportunity in September. You are not restricted. It does not have to happen this September. Come work with us, chat with us in the DM, and let us help you get to your dream destination, September, January, May, whatever it is. We are happy to help you to get on your journey. Some people's situation, they'll not get scholarship, and it's okay. If you don't get scholarship, you will still go to school. What matters is there is an opportunity for you somewhere, and my team and I are ready to help you explore that. It is now 2:02 where I am. It's been so nice coming on this live. This live can help somebody. Please, when we share it, please share it with someone. Share it on your IG. Share it to Twitter. Share it in different places so that people can have access to this information. And I look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful week. Keep safe out there. And like I said, we'll be distributing a few data out to people. And I wish, if you're Nigeria, stay safe. I wish Nigeria, us, my country, I wish my country a very good election. Let your PVC count. Help us make Nigeria the Nigeria we want. Diaspora cannot vote. So the fate of Nigeria is in your hands. And we need you to please help us use it the way that you think we want to see it. We deserve a country that works. We deserve a country that we can be proud of. We even home and abroad. Whether you leave Nigeria or not, we cannot take everybody out of Nigeria. So we have to do our best to make sure that it can be in order. I wish everybody all the best. Be safe. Stay safe. God bless you and keep your family safe. Chat with us in the DM so that we can send you links to register if this is what you want to do with me. Have a wonderful week. Goodbye, everybody.